Everybody, this is Lisa Robinson with Lisa Marie Accounting. And for those of you that may be new joining in on this live of Sass It Up Live, I am a numbers profitability coach. And what that means is I help online women entrepreneurs take the chaos out of their numbers and show them how those business numbers can actually be sassy and sexy. And yes, it is possible. I work with women entrepreneurs that are just starting out and ones that have been in business for a year plus who finally are to the point where they need their numbers to be a certain way so that they can actually grow even more. And I love doing it. So today we're sassing up your essence. And I think this is going to be one of my favorite episodes, just because it kind of goes with that sensitivity, which we did on our first episode. And if you're not familiar with how the episodes work, this live I am going to leave up for 48 hours because we are doing a giveaway. And I'm going to go into that giveaway and then I'm going to introduce my guest. Well, I guess I'm going to do both at the same time. My guest is Morgan Sheets. She is an international holistic well-being coach for entrepreneurs. And we are doing a giveaway for a coaching session from each of us. So there'll be 2 people who will win. So if you're interested, please, please, please make sure that you enter. And I'm going to put the link in the comments right now so that you can see it. So I just put the link in there. That is for you to go ahead and fill it out and enter in for the contest. So make sure that you, oh, it just showed it didn't put in the comment. Okay, that was weird. There we go. Now I'll do it that way. See, I'm not used to, there. Okay, I'm not used to Be Live and how it all works. So without further ado, here is Morgan Sheets, my guest. And will you please introduce yourself and give everyone just a little bit of background about you?
Definitely. First of all, thank you for having me. So here with you. You know what it's like to incorporate your essence into your business as a declared accountant. So a little bit about me, like I became a coach to help other women do what I had to go on a journey to do myself. Mm-hmm. So briefly, I was, I moved a lot. I went to 9 different schools, K through 12. Then I started getting into the talent world as a teenager, doing modeling and acting. And I was always a very driven person. But my drive and my life experience caused me to focus more on who I needed to be for the things I was doing and for the environment around me, rather than letting myself be who I am and bringing who I am to the things that I do.
Right.
Now I coach women and some men too on how to bring their whole selves, what I call really touch into their true nature or your essence. They're kind of the same thing, so that you can bring all of you into the things that you're doing, because our essence is our being and we bring our being into our doing. And we're taught a lot of times to go at it backwards, that to be a certain way, we need to do certain things. And so it kind of leaves us in the cycle of like chasing the doing to become the being. Mm-hmm. I know that sounds pretty esoteric as I'm describing it.
Well, it makes sense. It does make sense.
So as a coach, I support people through the process and the journey, and I act as their guide and a mirror and an outside point of view to help them see the patterns, what I call like the blueprint, and the qualities about themselves that they can't see because they're inside of themselves and not outside of them.
Right, right. So my next question, which I think kind of goes on to part of your description of you and what you do, is what is your why? Why is this your passion? Why is it something that you love doing so much?
So to me, like, I know the pain of being disconnected from who you are. And my own disconnect, led me to, not wanting to live anymore, a lot of things, I never acted on it, but just that deep level of pain.
Right.
And so when I, made that transformation myself, I thought, I just wanted to help every other person that felt that deep pain that you can't make go away from anything else, but learning how to get in touch with yourself again. And every time I do it and I coach my clients, like it's an indescribable feeling to me.
Yeah.
That feeling that I get of that, like watching them and their transformation, I'm sure it's like with you, the numbers.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. It's a high.
And they're like, that's my why. There's nothing better than just the ripple effect. Like, as I'm sure like empowered people support like everyone around them to become more empowered. Mm-hmm. So knowing that every single person I can take out of that place of deep pain into feeling good just by learning how to be themselves, they support everyone around them to do the same thing. And that's my why. Just feel good.
And I think it's really important too for those that are watching now and also who are going to watch the replay. Something my coach and everyone's always told me is that, as a business owner, we're supposed to make sure we're ourselves. And you were talking about my true essence. And so for a long time, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't the sassy Southern accountant. I didn't have that sassiness as part of my business because growing up, I was told that being Southern and having that Southern personality was not professional. It was very low grade. You weren't supposed to show it. So for a long time, especially in the corporate world, I didn't. I had basically two accents. I had one when I was working in front of people, and I had one at home in front of my friends. Uh-oh, she went away.
Who? I went away?
Hopefully she'll come back. And so that's really important, is that over time, I found that I was able to put that back or put it into my business. And when I did, things got better. And so the true self came out, and it helped. So I'm going to figure out where my guest went. Y'all bear with me. Something happened. So I'm hoping she will come back on. Give me just a second. Oh, wow. Okay. So she can still hear me. Okay. But I can't hear you. Something. Okay. Something happened where she was able to see me. Let's see if she comes back now. Yay! Okay. I'm not sure what happened there. But I kept talking. Y'all, I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties. I think this is the first one out of all of them. But you know what? Some things have to happen. I'll be honest, me being in my true self, if this would have happened a year ago, we'd have not done the live. The live would have stopped, and that would have been it. So kudos for me on saying, okay, keep talking and see. But what I was saying is that at first I didn't show that true self. And it evolved. And once I was like, wait a minute, I'm not comfortable. Let me go ahead and show my true self. And that's when that sassy came into it. And that's when the sassy and sexy numbers came into it. And that's when I became my true self. And it makes a big, huge difference. Right?
Huge, yeah. Probably so energetically, like that's the biggest thing. I know as we talked about, if you're feeling drained in your business and feeling like you don't want to show up, often that times it's because we're trying to be something that we're not. So I'm curious, like when you made that shift, did you find more energy to put in business?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was more energy, and I also felt more comfortable. So we're more comfortable to talk, and felt more like me. And then the more comfortable I got with it, and showing that if I'm not for some people, and I know my sassiness is not for everybody, I sometimes I'm a little too much, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to curb it back because I am who I am. And that sassiness comes with a lot of love, comes with a lot of Southern, but it comes with a lot of love. And it's true and it's real. And so I guess that's going to be my next question for you is how can we bring more of our whole self into our business?
I think, one thing you mentioned, and the one key factor is kind of to drop this idea of what we think it is to be a professional.
Mm-hmm.
For one, because there's a lot of, labels and beliefs and shoulds around that. So I think it's helpful to write down what your beliefs are about being a professional, and then take a look at that and ask for each thing, like, is this really true for me? And redefine it on your own terms. So, for example, like, you had that belief that to be professional meant that you couldn't show your Southern accent, right? So instead you realize, wait a minute, that's actually not true. That was just something that I was told.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important as a starting place to clear out what I call like all that muck that you have inside of you already, so that you can get to the next place, which is saying, well, what is really true for me? What do I really believe?
And a good way to clear out that muck, again, is to write things down. And I think when we were, my first guest, she was talking about highly sensitive entrepreneurs, and the same thing, write down. That journal keeps coming up. And so I think that's really important, is to get that muck out and then start realizing, okay, what is true? Who am I? What is my personality? What is my business about? And bring that together.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
And redefining it. So in terms of, like, for me, we've kind of, for everybody that doesn't know, like, we were talking about where we're at in our live today before we got on here. And so everyone was like, there's a wall behind me, but I'm sitting in my bedroom. Like, to some people that might not seem professional. But for me, professionalism, I've defined it as providing the best service and creating the results that I promise my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And then I give myself space in how I do that. And I think there's room for everybody else to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to look a certain way or be a certain way or market yourself a certain way to be professional.
Right.
Let's look at what that means underneath. And it's really just providing excellent service and promising and delivering what you promise. Mm-hmm. Everything else is just the vehicle.
Right.
And, I have people follow their own energy as well to tap into what's true for them. So that's the second tool. It is a practice, though. Like, if you're not used to giving yourself space to ask yourself what is true for you, then it's going to be harder to feel out your own energy and feel it inside. So it's not something that you're going to try it one time and then it's going to be easy and comfortable. It is something that takes time. And I invite people to start small with it, like for silly things that aren't consequential, to start to tap into learning for you what is true, not from what you think or believe, but purely from just that being space that we talked about, like your essence, your spirit, the who that you are without all the labels that come with, being human. And so you just give yourself space on a daily basis to explore what that being inside of you really wants. So, for example, when you have your morning cup of coffee, ask yourself what cup would feel the best. When you put on a shirt, just say, what would feel the best to me? If you're going to drive a certain route, ask yourself what route feels the best to drive. When you're picking colors of
Yeah, because when we do routes, we normally go just, it's like, I don't know if anybody else is like this, but it's like, okay, when I leave to go pick up my children from school, I can go like, I don't know, one of three different ways. And
Right.
normally I go the same way every day because it's like autopilot.
Right.
We honestly don't think about, okay, which route would be better today, just based off of, it's like, okay, I'm getting in the car and I'm leaving to go get my kid.
Yeah, in business terms, like we try to do the same thing, right? It's like, let's pick the fastest, most efficient route. But that fastest, most efficient route may not be the most enjoyable route.
The one that feels the best. Yeah. Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. So, okay. So what kind of thing, and I guess you did this, but maybe you can kind of go into a little bit deeper. What kind of things can we do where we can get to know ourselves on all levels? Because that was one of the things when we talked, when we chatted about the interview, where you were saying, for us to get to know ourselves on all levels. And I understand, but I want our viewers to understand what you mean by that, and what kind of things we do to be able to actually get to know ourselves on all levels.
Well, let's talk about what all levels are first, so they know what that is. So we have, our emotional selves, our mental, physical, and spiritual. Think of the realms of who we are. So there's a few different ways that I have people go about like dropping who they are, because you have to let go of who you are and who you think you are to become who you really are. And so simply put, to start at ground zero, what someone can do is say, okay, like pretend that you're a person that has just experienced total amnesia. So you wake up and everything about you is unknown. Like you're discovering all of these things about yourself again. And that's the place of curiosity and awareness and discovery that you really want to start from. Mm-hmm. Because getting to know yourself, like there's certain tools we can use, like quizzes and profiling and things like that, to help on the journey. But the end goal is always to change your relationship with yourself. And the first step is just to start from a place of curiosity. We're taught a lot of self-judgment. And so, like, you want to start tuning into your body. And by tuning in, I mean just getting curious and listening. Like, start noticing. Most people don't pay any attention to their body until pain comes along. It's like pain, they're like, oh, there's something there. So like after you eat a meal, just get curious. How does that food make me feel? What makes my body feel good? Like when I do this and I wake up, I feel rested. Or, that hot shower really made me feel this way. It's, if we're going to try to think of like simple analogies, like, when I say tuning in, I mean it in terms of thinking like a TV or a radio. You have to turn it to a certain channel and pay attention to be able to see what that channel or that picture is saying.
Right.
And so that's the same with all aspects of ourselves. So you have to take that time to turn into your physical body. When you're emotional, like a lot of times we just make ourselves feel bad for those emotions. But those emotions are, and just like physical feelings and responses or messages and communication from our body, so are our emotions or our thoughts or, those gut feelings, or like I talked about, just that expansive or constricted feeling in our spirit. Those are all messages. But we have to take the time to pay attention and listen from a place of curiosity and just openness, lack of judgment, to begin to ask ourselves, well, I'm curious, why do I feel this way? Why is this coming up for me? What is this here to teach me? And then the more that you do that, the more able you are to listen to yourself in each piece of you. And then once you can listen to all pieces of you, you can start using that information to guide you in how you eat or how you exercise or how you create your daily schedule, you know, how you choose to market your business, you know, and because even marketing goes beyond being an introvert extrovert. Like, right. For example, I know for me, I love talking. Like, right. I'm an introvert, but I love talking, and I love talking one-to-one with people. You know, I love giving information and, you know, helping people in that way. For me, posting on social media is like the worst. Like, oh gosh.
Yeah, yeah. I don't mind the posting. It's the content. It's coming up and preparing the content.
That part's easy for me, but it's just like, I don't get fed from that environment. Mm-hmm. You know, and so that's something that I notice. I get curious, and I'm like, okay, well, I feel this certain way when I show up to do this. Why do I feel that way? You know, okay, well, I feel that way because of this. And sometimes it's not things that should hold us back. It's things we need to look at and change.
Right, right.
Maybe it's an opportunity for growth, or maybe it's just an opportunity to redirect and take you somewhere that's better for you.
Right, because there's so many different aspects of social media and marketing on the social media that if there is something, there's 9 to 10 times it's either a way you can grow.
Right.
Like, okay, a year and a half ago when I did lives, it was nearly a fiasco. I mean, I had to like literally talk myself into them every time. Yeah, I know it's hard to believe, but it's true. Because to me, it was so much like public speaking. And I despise getting up in front of a huge crowd and public speaking. Yeah, that's something I am now able to do is the lives, and I'm growing to the point to where now I'm going to be doing workshops. I know, again. So, but that is saying it's a way to kind of go through the growth, or it's a way to say, okay, this makes me feel this way because, and then this is not what I need to be doing because it is causing me so much. What other way can I go about it? Where can I redirect it? Or like some of my clients, they're learning is that, okay, I despise this so much. I know I need to still be a part of it and I'm okay with that, but I'm ready to hand it over so I don't have to deal with it.
Right.
And in being an entrepreneur, online entrepreneur or not, sometimes the way of being able to redirect it or go around it is finding someone who's an awesome team member, who's awesome at what they do. And it's something that you don't like doing. You want to be involved because you're a business, but you don't like doing. And so you hand it over. And that's the beauty of being able to, what you're saying, you know, okay, is this making me feel this way because I just don't have the time and I don't want to deal with it? Or is it making me feel this way because, okay, maybe I need to deal with something so that I can grow and be able to do it. Right?
Right. Okay. And if it's on someone else that it's their strength, you know, they get the pleasure of acting from what they do best.
Right. So it's a win-win situation.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we like those win-win situations. So, okay. So my last question is, what do you mean live, be, do in alignment? And that was something else that you and I talked about in our chat, and something you've mentioned in the post when we were talking about the live, and I've seen it. It's on your Facebook a lot, and I've also seen it on your website. So for those that are watching and who are going to watch the replay, what do you mean exactly by live, be, do in alignment?
Sure. So the living part addresses more our physical aspect. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's eating, it's exercising, it's sleep habits, it's relationships with people outside of us. So our family, our friends, our clients, our business colleagues. You know, what we give back to the world. So our work or volunteer or social or community organizations. And then let's define what each term is, and then we'll go into what it means for being in alignment. And so being is really how we do those things. It's not the what we're doing, but it's how we are showing up as people to do these things the eating, the exercising, all of the things I just mentioned. That's really where we get to bring, like, that's our emotional self and our mental self mostly. It's the intangibles pretty much.
Right.
Comes into our being. And then the doing is how we do the living. So, for example, like, we have to eat, in simple terms. So you could, go and grab something fast through a drive-through and eat it in your car and while you're driving and not enjoy the meal and be really rushed. And the whole experience probably isn't going to feel very good. I mean, unless you like speed eating, which
I think most of us don't like it. It's just most of us we get in a habit of go, 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 go. And I'm gonna be honest, before I started being more self-aware of that. And even working at home, I was constantly working, and then all of a sudden I need to leave. And I was forgetting to set time for eating. So I was stopping at fast food and I was eating while I was driving. And it's not enjoyable. It's not, or even if I wait till I get to the car rider line, because I'm waiting on my oldest, it's still not as enjoyable. Now I make a point I'm eating 6 meals a day, and I'm making a point to make those times to eat. And not only am I eating better, but I'm not eating any fast food. Because once you stop eating the fast food, you realize how horrible it made you feel.
Right.
And so, and I knew before I stopped because I was just tired of it. And so now the thought of eating fast food is just, ugh. So it makes you start feeling better when you become self-aware of those things.
Exactly. And that's, how you described that is really how you start knowing what feels in alignment. Because you're like, I did that before. It was a habit. I recognized I didn't really like it and I didn't want to do it. So then I made a different choice to do something different, and it felt so much better. And you felt so much better. And then when you think of the other thing, you're just kind of like, ugh, like nothing about that feels good. So, I mean, alignment.
It's breaking that cycle, though. Because it becomes a habit. I mean, it's amazing how it becomes a habit. So it's like you're having to create new habits.
You do. New choices and habits. It's new thoughts, beliefs, choices, and then actions. Because we can choose, but we don't always take action on what we do.
Right.
And then, so what I mean by alignment is, if we're going to take that outside of ourselves, it's just getting everything to fall into place to where it's in harmony. And that doesn't mean that it's a static thing, because a lot of times I think people think balance and harmony is static, and it's not. It means being able to let yourself shift and like do what is best for you in each moment. And that comes from repeatedly tapping into yourself and saying, what would be the best choice for me right now? Is this choice really in my best interest? What do I need to do right now to feel good? What do I need to do right now to take care of myself? And, since we're talking in business aspects, I mean, the natural byproduct of getting into a space where you're living, you're being, and you're doing, like in harmony and balance and alignment with yourself is, first of all, feeling good. You have a sense of peace and calmness and feeling good. You're grounded and you're centered. You're able to be really present with yourself. And you froze for a minute, but you're back. And when you're like that, people just respond to you better. To go a little bit into the etheric part, alignment is kind of an energetic harmony. So when you're in balance with yourself, you're putting out that vibration. Like people say, your vibe attracts your tribe. you're attracting people to you that feel good about how good that you feel. And so, going back to, example, like the most common thing exercise wise that I hear from women all the time is, if I want to lose weight, I have to get on the treadmill and I have to eat less. And it's
okay.
out of
We're having technical difficulties again. This is really, I'm so sorry, y'all. Morgan, I think you can hear me, but I lost you. Are you coming back? Yep, there you are. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. I've not had this many. I think there's something going on with my end with the internet, so I apologize. Hopefully everybody will stick through, especially on the replay as well. So go ahead and finish, please. I am so sorry. I think I'm frozen, but I can hear you. So
where did I leave off?
I don't remember. I think you were talking about with us being in the alignment part.
Okay. So we'll just start that back again. So, alignment is really about being in harmony with yourself, and alignment means to be in a place of non-resistance, basically. So even though I said that the byproduct of alignment is typically, feeling a deep sense of peace, joy, contentment, like you typically from a place of alignment feel like life is working out in your favor, everything's just unfolding as it should. It all kind of flows and feels really good. But
right.
The side effect of that, not the side effect, but alignment is sometimes also accepting and not resisting when you're feeling like a hot mess and you just are hormonal and you want to cry, or
right.
something happens to, something bad happens and you're just like really angry. Like you're like, that really pissed me off. Or if something happens to your family and you're like, I'm really upset and I'm concerned. Like sometimes we resist all those feelings and that takes us out of alignment too. I think there's, I want to dispel this whole positivity thing. I'm all for positive living, but we're kind of shamed for being authentic and in alignment with the more challenging emotions and reality of life that as it comes up.
And sometimes there are more challenging emotions than just the positivity. I mean, it's life. I mean, it's, from this last week, with the weather and the school and the kids out and the kids in. I mean, I was doing my best to be positive, but there was times where I was just like, look, you know what? This day's just gone to hell in a handbasket and y'all just need to deal with me and just leave me, I'm not going to be able to do what I was supposed to be able to do. The weather's got the schools delayed or schools canceled. And I don't think my kids went to school like maybe one full day last week.
And that is also being in alignment. Because you get the flow of life, you're like, I know what I need right now, and that's just to give me space, let me do this, not do this, instead of saying to yourself, all this stuff is going on, and I said I was going to do this, so no matter what, I'm going to do this, even though I feel like this right now, and, and you would have wound up like more tense and angry and frustrated. And
it caused a lot more chaos.
Yeah.
And a lot more chaos and stress, yes. Yeah. Most definitely. I get it, because I mean, and I think that's one of the things that I love about it is because it kind of intertwines with what I do is when my clients or the women I work with, they start thinking about numbers, they start getting stressed and they start getting all that chaotic. And instead of just sitting back and saying, okay, this is how this is making me feel. Am I in alignment with this? If not, what can I do about it? And doing the steps. Whereas instead they just either ignore it or they, no, you know what? I'm going to do it no matter what. And then not only may it be done wrong, but they're causing themselves this excess stress, this chaos, and they're not any better for it.
Right.
And so I like the way you're saying, live, be, and do in alignment, because when you do those in alignment, you're saying, okay, you know what, this week's not a good week. That's okay. This is how I feel. This is what I need to do because of it. So therefore I'm being in alignment with myself. And I think that's really important, because us as entrepreneurs, we're going to have good days and bad days. I mean, I'm going to be honest, most days are really good because I work for myself and I love what I do. But I have bad days. Hello, one, I'm married. Two, I have 2 kids, and one of them's a teenager. So there are a lot of bad days. You know, I mean, she's 14, and at the rate she's going, I don't know if she, you know, I've informed her she needs to quit so that she makes it to 15. But you know, that comes with the challenges of being a mother or a parent, and having a business and doing what you love to do. And you know, especially even for the women who work full time and then are growing their business on the side, or trying to grow their business to where they can quit their jobs. I totally understand that. And that's one of the mistakes I did make, is I wasn't living in alignment with myself when I was doing that. I was living in utter chaos. It was utter stress and utter chaos. And unfortunately for me, I didn't see a way out at first. And then when I did, my way out was leaving. It was saying, you know, I was laid off, and that was my way out. That was God's gift, and I took it and ran with it. And so that was, I was able to start seeing more so that I wasn't living in alignment with myself, and I wasn't being my true self. And that's where that growth over the last year has just come from, you know. And so I tell people, not only did 2017 did my business grow business wise, but I grew personally. And that's because I started doing those things like you're talking about, in alignment. And y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all, it's an awesome feeling. So if any of y'all are I don't know, stressed, worried, not sure if you're being in alignment, we're giving away 2 free sessions, y'all. So one from me, one from Morgan. Make sure you fill out the link. You do not have to be here live, of course. You do. All you have to do is fill out the link. January 30th is when we are, right? January 30th is when we said, yes, is when we're actually going to do the drawing. So you still got like a week and a half. And I will make sure that I let my peeps know. The live will be up for another 48 hours. I apologize for all the technical difficulties. I'm still frozen, but I'm hopefully that everybody can hear me. And I want to thank you so much for joining us and being my guest. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think you have a lot of information that I know you work with women and men who aren't entrepreneurs, but I really think that you can help a lot of entrepreneurs who are trying to make sure that they're living and being and doing in alignment, and they're getting rid of that, you know, muckus, you know, so that they can be them true selves. Because I think sometimes that's really hard, especially in the online world, when we're growing our business, to make sure that we're doing that. So I am tickled that you were a guest with me today. And I think you did have a freebie that you were also going to offer. In the comments, if you'll put a link for that for them, and then it will also be sent out, of course, to my the email list when I send out the recording. So everybody, when you're watching the recording, if you have any questions, please make sure you tag me or Morgan. Thank you once again for joining for Sass It Up Live. We have another one in 2 weeks. And hopefully y'all will all have an awesome, awesome, awesome day and bear through the technical difficulties of this one. So, all right, I'm going to end it now. Hold on just a second. Thank you. Hold on.